Hello, this your boy Stone Thug. Peace to all of my subscribers and new viewers and visitors and whoever you are. Peace unto you. And welcome to another edition to our news program, which is called God, Guns, and Blood. And I basically explained how we got that name and why we got that name because white guys, they like that sort of stuff. And I'm mostly speaking to them. And a few black guys and Asian guys and Latin guys and all of those groups in between. But mainly, there's a segment of the population that love, I don't get it myself, to talk about those things. You know, America's roots are deeply entrenched in God, guns, and blood. So it's a good enough title and it's an interesting enough subject matter where I feel I can elaborate on it a little bit. So I'm Stone Thug, and I welcome you all. Now, I'm going to give you on this particular episode of God, Guns, and Blood. I had hinted to what I was going to speak about in my last video, and I encourage you guys to go out and watch all the videos. They're very different, and some things might be useful to you. I don't know. But if you're on this Stone Thug Music, if you're on this channel, you might as well take a look and see what we have. Some stuff won't bore you so much. It might even be interesting, stimulating, and positive. Of course, some stuff might, I don't know. Anyway, what I hinted to is what we're going to discuss in this show is how the South lost the war. We're going to talk about the South, the American Great South, and one of the great battles, Gettysburg. And they had many, of course, but that's considered like the top one because that's the one that kind of like ended the war. There were so many casualties in that particular one event. I think it's somewhere around 100,000 people were killed. Some crazy, ridiculous number where people were shooting their neighbors and killing their relatives regarding the Civil War, which they like to rewrite it, call it now the War Against the States, which I actually think that they both were right. It's a civil war. The people were actually being rebellious against the civil authorities by trying to secede, in other words, break off part of America, which everybody contributed to, simply because they wanted to keep the business of slavery going. Slavery being, for those of you who are not Americans, the capture and the free labor of slaves. That would be people like myself, African Americans, who were brought here through slave ships, from one part of the world to the other to work for absolutely free under diabolical and brutal conditions. I know the South like to romanticize the slavery situation now. I actually saw a movie the other day where they had a slave woman who was an equal part of the family in this one particular movie. And she had free reign in the house and all that kind of stuff. And I have no doubt that that was true in some circumstances. Because, I mean, you know, white folks are human and slaves are human. And human beings tend to, after time, tend to jail. But when you have a power hierarchy over a lower, they tend to stay the same. So that was in part of this remaking of America, this rewriting of American history, that's a fabrication of the facts. Most African Americans or black folks who were slaves were not necessarily treated very well because they didn't have to treat them well. Even though people claim to be Christians or Jewish, there was a lot of Jewish folks that owned slaves too. Matter of fact, historically, there was more Jewish people. I might be talking about myself here a little bit because I'm part Jewish. But there were more Jewish slave owners than standard, straight up white folks. I don't know if a lot of people knew that. Matter of fact, as far as Jews are concerned, great people. Like I said, got Jewish blood running through my veins. They owned some of the slave ships that actually brought African Americans from Africa. So it was everybody was involved in slavery. Slavery was an American institution.